Welcome to Royal Secrets. Harry issued a stern warning on the new book's shocking claims that aim to damage Duke. Following the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, royal analyst Niall Gardiner told Express.co.uk that there is much less public desire for books by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. A critic has issued a stern warning to Prince Harry on his impending biography, claiming that any additional attacks on the royal family would seriously erode his own standing. Following the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, royal analyst Niall Gardiner told Express.co.uk that there is much less public desire for books by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Any attacks on the royal family, he claimed, would be viewed as quite in poor taste. It was anticipated that Prince Harry's book would be published in the fall of 2022, but there is talk that it might happen in 2023 instead. Harry's autobiography will reveal, for the very first time, the definitive story of the experiences, adventures, losses, and life lessons that have helped shape him, according to publisher Penguin. "I'm writing this not as the prince I was born, but as the man I have become," the Duke of Sussex stated when announcing the book. "I've had many hats over the years, both literally and figuratively, and by sharing my experience, the highs and lows, the blunders, and the lessons gained, I hope to demonstrate that, despite our differences, we share more things in common than we might imagine. Unfortunately, I don't see the gap closing anytime soon because what you're looking at right now is Harry's book, which will be published in the fall. What will be in that book is the issue. After Oprah, which was little over a year ago and which I thought was so devastating and subject to different interpretations, it's really difficult." However, Mr. Gardiner told Express.co.uk that there is far less public desire for books by Harry and Meghan and that there will be a huge backlash if Harry's book contains any serious criticism of the royal family. It would undoubtedly seriously damage his reputation, particularly in the UK. "I believe that the desire to criticize the royal family is much less. They would be considered to have exceedingly bad taste." After Queen Elizabeth II passed away, the nation observed a period of national mourning that lasted until Tuesday. The announcement of the former monarch's passing came on September 8, 2022. The Very Reverend Dr. David Hoyle, Dean of Westminster, officiated during her funeral, which was held on Monday at Westminster Abbey. The service, which was broadcast on more than 50 UK networks, drew in almost 28 million viewers. More than 250,000 people reportedly visited Queen Elizabeth II's funeral, according to the government. In another news, Charles is dismayed by the Queen's decision to allow an aide to publish books on her time spent with the Queen. The Queen gave her confidant and dresser permission to pen a number of books on her time spent serving Her Majesty. According to rumors, King Charles was dismayed to find that his mother had given Angela Kelly, a close advisor to the Queen, permission to write a series of novels on her time spent with the monarch. Richard Kay, a royal critic, analyzed the intimate relationship between the late monarch and her dresser and called Her Majesty's action strange. The editor-at-large of the Daily Mail wrote the following in a commentary piece. "Charles was shocked when Miss Kelly, a grandmother of 70, was given the unusual permission to write a number of books about her time spent with the Queen. The books were described as offering a special look into the true and lasting connection between the two women. Charles was horrified by some of the informal photographs used to illustrate the books, including one in which the Queen was seated on a chaise longue with her feet up. The books were generally harmless and limited to Angela's area of expertise, namely, the Queen's wardrobe and her clothes. According to a source cited by Mr. Kay, the then Prince of Wales was worried about preserving both the dignity of the Queen and the crown. The insider, who identified himself as a friend, went on to say that the new Queen is even more determined to defend her name and her legacy now that the Queen has passed away. In 1992, while the royal couple was on an official visit to Berlin, Miss Kelly had her first encounter with the Queen and her husband Prince Philip. The Liverpool native was Sir Christopher Malaby's housekeeper when he served as Britain's ambassador to Germany at the time. The opportunity to get to know Miss Kelly during Her Majesty's visit to Berlin led to her being contacted and given a dresser position at the palace. The gifted assistant was elevated to senior dresser 3 years after she was hired. The Queen's decision to hire Miss Kelly as her first personal assistant in 2001 was a testament to how close they were. Miss Kelly, the late monarch's dresser, was in charge of purchasing the items required for the late monarch's ensembles, as well as creating some of them. Miss Kelly revealed a few experiences in her second book, The Other Side of the Coin. The Queen, the Dresser and the Wardrobe, including how she recreated the Honiton lace gown used for the royal baptism for decades by members of the firm. The late monarch's new shoes were also broken in, Miss Kelly noted in the same book, which was published in 2019. This was done to ensure the late monarch was always as comfortable as possible. The royal attendant also disclosed that she became the Queen's hairdresser during the coronavirus lockdowns in an updated edition of the book published in May. Dressing the Queen was the title of Miss Kelly's debut novel, which was published in 2012. Her Majesty's Diamond Jubilee outfit was the main topic. She did, however, once give a brief account of her discussions with the late head of state, saying, "We are just two regular women. We talk about our outfits, makeup, and jewelry." One of the Queen's staff members who remained devotedly at her side during her final days before passing away on September 8 was Miss Kelly. Since she is said to have allowed her dresser to stay in her residence at Windsor for the rest of her life, the Queen is said to have given Miss Kelly's future after the end of her reign some thought. Miss Kelly sat next to two other close advisors to the Queen during the state burial on Monday at Westminster Abbey. Tall Paul Wybrew and Barry Mitford. The first worked for decades as the Queen's page of the back staircase and even made an appearance in a 2012 skit that Her Majesty and Daniel Craig filmed for the London Olympics' opening ceremony. He was among the first to assist the Queen in 1982 when Michael Fagan had entered her chamber without activating the security. On the other hand, Mr. Mitford served as the sergeant at arms for the late monarch.